Do you remember all the tragic reasons why Jenny Humphreys' relationships fell apart on Gossip Girl? She ended the show completely single and alone, even though she dated a handful of handsome guys. So, what went wrong? Here's a breakdown of why Jenny's relationships never seemed to work out, including the tragic reasons behind all of her splits. Asher Hornsby. Jenny was smitten with Asher when they first started dating. She met him while he was walking dogs in New York City, and she instantly thought he was cute. After she found out he was wealthy, it made her even more attracted to him, and even more excited by the prospect of dating him. At that time, Jenny was doing her best to fit in with the popular girls at school. She knew having the right boyfriend on her arm would be a great status symbol. The reality is that Asher never really liked Jenny. He was never attracted to her because he was secretly gay the entire time they were dating. He used Jenny to cover up his sexual identity, and he tried to spread the narrative that they had sex with each other so he'd come across like a total stud. In reality, he was secretly hooking up with Eric Vander Woodson and leaving Eric to feel ashamed as if Eric was nothing more than a dirty little secret. In one scene, Jenny went out of her way trying to make out with Asher because she wanted to take the next step with him. But he rejected her and informed her that they had a great deal going for them, where she helped him convince everyone he was straight, and he helped elevate her social status. The way Asher spoke to her was rude and condescending, so it was good news when they officially broke up. It all came crashing down when Blair outed Asher with a Gossip Girl blast after she discovered that Eric and Asher had met at the Ostroff Center and started secretly dating. Asher was outed at a public party in front of tons of people, and Jenny could no longer maintain the facade of their fake love story. Damien Dalgard. When Jenny first met Damien, he seemed totally uninterested in her. She agreed to take him on a tour of the city, and she had no idea he was such a troublesome guy who lived his life on the edge. She found out he was a drug dealer and realized she wanted to be part of that game so she'd have enough money to keep up with her wealthy friends on the Upper East Side. The entire relationship between Jenny and Damien was toxic because he didn't care about her well-being or her future. If she got caught slinging drugs on his behalf, it would have landed her behind bars. He was unbothered by that fact. Their relationship fully came crashing down at the end of season 3 when he tried to pressure her into having sex. She admitted she was a virgin, and he tried to tell her that having sex was not a big deal. In fact, he told her sex was an expectation if she wanted to be his girlfriend. Losing her virginity was a big deal to her, so she refrained from hooking up with him. He was so annoyed by her that he dumped her and left. Damien's lack of patience for Jenny ended up being a blessing in disguise, because she would have regretted losing her virginity to someone who truly didn't care about her at all. Even though Jenny didn't swipe her V card with Damien, she still ended up regretting the person she lost her virginity to. But more on that later. Nate Archibald. Things between Jenny and Nate were hot and cold the entire time they were in each other's lives. There was never anything consistent for them to lean on, and the foundation of their love story was always so shaky. The first night that they connected with each other was outside of Blair's 17th birthday party. Nate never went upstairs to celebrate Blair because he was so interested in his conversation with Jenny. In season 2, Nate moved in with the Humphrey family and realized how much he really did like Jenny. After her gorilla fashion show, they shared a kiss, but that kiss really pissed Dan off. Dan kicked Nate out of the apartment at that time. Dan's disapproval of the relationship was one knock against them, but then there was also Vanessa Abrams. Vanessa had feelings for Nate, which complicated things for Jenny. Later on, Serena Vander Woodson had feelings for Nate, and that was another problem for Jenny, who knew she wanted Nate all along. Jenny went out of her way to sabotage both Vanessa and Serena whenever she felt like she was going to lose Nate. Her immature antics were a total turnoff to Nate, who seemingly lost respect for her after witnessing her bully-style tactics. Jenny set Vanessa up to wear a see-through dress, which made Nate question Jenny's morals. On top of that, Jenny always came across like a victim who was too young and immature to handle herself in the world. Nate had to come to her rescue in 2 separate instances. Once, he saved her from a sleazy photographer who was about to take nude photos of her. Another time, he rescued her from getting SA'd after she was roofied by Agnes Andrews. Season 3 is when Nate and Jenny's love story crumbled forever. Nate saw that Jenny was trying to backstab and sabotage Serena, so he'd be manipulated into dumping Serena. Nate yelled at her to get out in an episode called The Unblairable Lightness of Being, and they were done for good from that point forward. Chuck Bass. Jenny and Chuck never officially dated, but they shared the most intimate moment of Jenny's young life before she was banished from New York City. She gave him her virginity. The first time Jenny and Chuck interacted was at the Kiss on the Lips party in season 1, when Chuck tried to force himself on Jenny. If Dan and Serena hadn't shown up on that rooftop to intervene, who knows what would have happened? Jenny seemingly kept her distance from Chuck over the years until the night she was ready to lose her virginity. She was an emotional wreck, and so was Chuck. They turned to each other for solace and comfort. One thing led to another, and they had sex. Keep in mind that Chuck was planning to propose to Blair Waldorf earlier that day, but Blair was running late to get to the Empire State Building because Dorota had gone into labor. When Blair found out that Chuck and Jenny had sex, she forced whatever connection Chuck and Jenny had to come to a screeching halt at that very moment. It was dramatic, but it was exactly the type of drama that Gossip Girl lovers crave seeing. What do you think of all these tragic reasons behind every breakup Jenny had on Gossip Girl? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.